The first thing that I want to do is I want to state the intentions of sovereignty. There was a prelude to this, so we're just going to make sure that we go through this one more again, because everything will be in alignment. So we're going to give the definition, so that way there's not other definitions that are coming to mind, like fabricated definitions somebody else created, right? So here it is. And I'm going to put myself up on the screen so that way I can be up on the screen, but you'll hear me read it. And it says Canon 5460. This is from the Canons of Sovereignty. I will source all of these works once the work is complete, because I've had to pull from multiple volumes. A quick second here. So that's good enough. The word sovereign is derived from the combination of two ancient Latin words, sover, meaning a savior, and regno, meaning to rule, to reign, to be supreme lord. Hence, a sovereign literally means, by its original etymology, to rule and to reign as a savior. So very clearly, this is sovereignty. Now, there's other titles, like a king is not a sovereign. A king is a king. A sovereign is a higher level than a king. So for a king to become a sovereign, they have to actually give up their kingship to go into a level of sovereignty. So it's a specific title, and it relates to a specific type of being, one who knows how to do specific things. So when they keep saying all around the internet, sovereignty, we need to become sovereign, I think everybody needs to step back for one moment and look at the word and realize if what you're trying to become, and then determine if that's what you really want to do. Now, for me, I'm going for sovereignty all the way, self-substantiation. So to rule and to reign as a savior in my own life. Okay, now this is the big check. The big smackdown that has to happen right away is that when we say stuff like this, folks automatically are ready to put on their armor and get their swords and shields and all this stuff together and get ready to go into this war so they can rule and reign over everything. And this is the worst way. That's the true battlefield. You'll lose to yourself. What a horrible loss. So the first point in all of this is to accomplish this within yourself before you can ever expect to do this for any others externally, or to lead them to the vibration that is around this, because this is not like one of your play, like a Lego. You're going to get your Lego certification today. You're going to get your 12th Reiki class certificate here today. And they're just passing it out. That's not what sovereignty is. Sovereignty is something that you earn and you hold into and you stand into yourself. So Canon 5461, by the very definition and the meaning of sovereign, any man or woman appointed to such high office by sacred oath is obligated to three ancient and primary tasks, being protect the realm, protect the law, protect the people. So to protect and defend the realm is the first obligation of the sovereign as a legally defined entity, defined territory, possessing its own personality and rights. So this is why we're specifically talking about you, because you have your own personality, your own rights, and your own customs. Generally, the land that you live in, though, theirs is a bit more generic. Meaning that you're running things in your house generally by your customs. But when you step outside into the public, there's a whole different custom going on there. There's a whole different personality. There's oftentimes a different set of rights. You may do things in your house that if you did them outside, maybe they would even be illegal. So you have a different set of rights. So it should be very clear that we're talking about obtaining sovereignty internally, to then see the replica externally. That is, may your will be done. You're talking to yourself. As above, so below. As in heaven, as on earth. So let everything that is happening inside of me now start to project or tesseract into this reality and become that same way, because that's what's happening anyway, right? It's just we have less control over the wheel of how to move that around. But a sovereign has complete control of the wheel of their vessel. Okay, now this is the vessel, and the place that you're staying or residing in, that is your realm, right? So your room could just be the boundaries of your own realm. And even if that was the case, there's certain things you're supposed to do in your realm to claim your realm. Because really, like, where are we really? The only thing that's telling us where we are is certain measurements and things. That's what we're going to talk about later on. So where are we really? So in hyperdimensional space, can we have a space that is our realm? Absolutely. But you have to do certain things to claim that space. Okay. So as we keep going here, it says, to protect and to defend the realm is the first obligation of the sovereign as a legally defined entity, defined territory, possessing its own personalities and rights. And to protect and defend the law of the realm is the second obligation of the sovereign to ensure rule of law, justice and equality prevail. To protect and defend and educate the people, the subjects of the realm, is the third sacred obligation of the sovereign. Now, there's a lot in the mindset right now that says, you know what, this is the end for the whole servant slave thing and the whole follower thing. And I feel the same way. I'm with you. I encourage everybody to do that same thing. But does that mean that's what the rules that everybody is going to follow? Do your children not need mentors or parents? So there's, again, levels to this. There are people who follow, there are people who serve, and there are people who are the leaders. There are people who are rulers. There are other powers, and they stake claim on those spaces. So finally, Canon 5462, to hide the origin of the word sovereign as coming from the Franks, Old French for the sacred law, the Latin word sover means one who rescues or protects another from harm. It was corrupted to soter, one who rescues and protects another from harm. Why? See, because in ancient times, the sovereign was the strongest person in the tribe. Now, you may not be physically stronger, but you may have strong magic. You see what I mean? You may be old, but let him mess with you. So the sovereign still means that you have to still have the ability to protect. It's like the same thing with the parent and the child. The real parents have to have the ability to protect their children. Right? So on a grander scale, the sovereign takes on that ability to protect because they're well armored. They themselves have unlocked certain things, which we're going to talk about as we go into this conversation, certain powers. And the reality is, if there's going to be a continuous conflict, even in the wisdom, meaning that if we're not going to be able to go to the ancient knowledge and see what they said about what the ancients were doing, rather than just trying to judge that particular ancient being, then we're never going to know where those powers are specifically and what are those powers. So it's like, to know your power is a big key to this because it's a level of awareness. But oftentimes, because we don't have such great examples of use of power these days, it's taking a long time for us to get a few beings that have enough resources and awareness to make something shake, to really do something. Now it's like, there's always an excuse. That's the whole trick with money. It's like you get a lot of it and you just need a lot more. And it's like, well, I can't. Then the pandemic happens. Like, man, I was going to donate 500,000 to the Boys and Girls Club. And now I ain't going to do it because I got to save this for the next 20,000 generations. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Technically, there is going to be no more generations if you don't actually come into the space and do what you have been put in charge to do. Right. So again, sovereignty is on the win now.